23. 23 is a very important number to the state of Ohio, and everybody knows why it's important. 23 is the number of the Cleveland Cavaliers shooting forward LeBron James, one of the best players of all time. But according to 10 TV News, we don't understand why it really should be important. 23 is the amount of people who die on a weekly basis due to heroin overdoses in the state of Ohio. Hi, I'm Chris Kuhn. Today we'll be talking a little bit about the heroin problem. And this is exactly what we'll discuss. We'll discuss the facts about it, about where it comes from, how it's affecting the state, the heroin epidemic as a whole, how it affects the country, how big of an impact this truly is, and the different solutions. I thought plans that may help the state and the country through stuff the government has, and also things that have proven to work in other places. So let's dive in. Now, according to the Columbus Dispatch, in 2003, Ohio only had 87 heroin overdose deaths. That wasn't too bad. That was something that was manageable, that we could fix pretty easily. But now it's obviously spiraled over control. We did not take that seriously. It has become a full epidemic. Just last year, we've had 1,424 deaths because of heroin overdose, and is looking to increase for this next year. That accounts for 47% of all deaths through overdoses for the state. This is definitely an absolute epidemic that the state and really the country needs to work on, because it is bad in Ohio, but it's also bad in other states, and is only going to get worse unless plans start being executed. So let's learn a little bit about this. According to PolitiFact.com and USA Today, renowned journalists, the heroin comes from Mexico and South America, and it comes through the southern border between the U.S. and Mexico. Now, a lot of people are thinking, how do we fix this? Because everybody knows it's not coming from Canada, and it's not being made in the United States, and it's certainly not being made in Ohio. So it has to be coming from an outside source, so everybody's leaning towards the Mexican border, and people are thinking maybe border control could be a big factor in helping this, while others think that we should work on focusing our efforts in the DEA and other police forces on these towns in different states. They are railroad states that the states are San Diego, Tucson, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Detroit, and El Paso are the main railroad states and cities that they take this drug to, and they distribute it to states farther away from the line, farther away from the product, like Ohio and Minnesota, Michigan, and just any place that cannot get it because it's not close. They run direct railroads, so that way our states are infected with this. So a lot of people think that maybe we should enforce police in other ways in these states to stop it before it gets here, because stopping it when it gets in the country seems to be like it's not working no matter what we do. Now, the heroin has many different names, and thanks to drugfreeworld.org, I found out several of these names. I figured everybody should know what heroin goes by, so that way they know when it's really affecting their local cities and towns. It goes by so many names because people do not want them to know what they're doing. It goes by Big H, brown sugar, hell dust, horse, junk, and nose drops. Now, all like the drug-free world, they want to get this information out so that way everybody can know what it's called and try to stop this epidemic by reporting it. Now, obviously, the government has to be doing something. And according to Time Magazine, they wrote an article about what the government is doing. Apparently, they are making steps to try to stop it. They have we're trying to spend $1.1 billion on just trying to get this drug. And this drug is very important. It's kind of hard, it was hard to come by, but they want to get it to different ambulances, hospitals, and police forces. It's called Suboxone. It is a very hard word to say, and it is a very hard drug to get through all the medical fields. But they feel if we can get it, it is a drug that can stop heroin overdoses, and in some cases can get people off the drug itself. So that is what the government is doing. Now, other solutions, obviously we have multiple ways. This is another one from drugfreeworld.org. This is a very helpful website that's trying to stop this epidemic. The medical solutions are more short-term solutions. They're something that can stop people from overdoses. They can help people get off the heroin pills or heroin drug. So we got Suboxone. We already talked about that as a drug that the government is trying to push because it is working. We have Vivitrol, which is just like Suboxone. It is helping the people who are overdosing and helping people get off the drug. And then methadone, very similar to the other two. They're just drugs that are working, but they're hard to come by and they're hard to get to who needs it. Because most people don't think that the state of Ohio needs it because it's so far away from the problem with the southern border. Now the other solutions that I think are work, and I think if they implement them, this is my personal plan to stop heroin in the state of Ohio and hopefully move on. And educating the public, I think is the most important thing. Because every year there's millions of dollars and money and time spent on tobacco, stuffing tobacco, cigarettes, and chewing tobacco, when really it is a problem in the state and in the country, but compared to heroin, the long-term effects and short-term effects, it's no contest that heroin is a much bigger problem that we need to work on as a country. So we should really take some of the resources that we're using on other drugs and other problems and focus on what really needs to be stopped, which is this horrible heroin epidemic. Now, rehab is something that if someone is trying to get off heroin, they normally have to go through rehab to become a normal member of society in the end. It is possible not to using the other drug methods, but that is extremely important and extremely useful tool. So using those, I hope we can fix the problem in the state and hopefully in the country. So what have we discussed today? We obviously discussed how bad the heroin problem is in the state. We talked about where it's coming from. We talked about how many deaths, 23. We mentioned it a lot because it should be mentioned. It is very important that 23 people die a week just because of heroin. That could easily be stopped. The facts about heroin, we now know what it's called, and it comes from the southern border, and it's a lot from South America and Mexico. We talked about the different solutions. That would be the drugs. Those are the short-term solutions that could help people today who are going through bad things today. And the long-term solutions like educating the public and taking ads and doing other things to show people what this drug really is. So I hope I informed you guys a little bit about the problem. Here are my resources. Thank you very much.